hell is it? I guess you guys probably see it. The moon's right there. The sun's right here, guys. Sun's there. Moon's right there. Hey, welcome. Thanks so much, new subscribers, for taking the time and the interest of this channel and taking the time to subscribe. Check it out. Those are the sunspots. Yesterday, we're looking at 278 up on the left and the 275 and the whole bunch of them down there. So, from that time yesterday and the video that I posted, that I mentioned the weather and the snow, the excessive weather, right? I talked about this week the freezing rain that we got here. It was actually not just here, it was the North American ice storm that it was called, and it dumped a lot of ice and precipitation on people. So let's see what happened in the news just a couple of hours ago, actually. Yesterday in the evening, I got the news that Florida was experiencing some very large hail. Yesterday, huge hail fell in Florida. The size of golf balls caused extensive damage in central Florida Monday. That's 2 days ago, actually. Looking at some photos here, wow, the hail caused, smashed cars, roofs, houses, mirrors. Everything's dented up, back windows. The hail also put dents on the roofs of many houses, and it was just repetitive damage that we're going to be seeing more and more often when and if that sun acts up. So what I'm declaring to people and telling people that what we're going to see is not an end of the world. We're going to be paying a lot to fix the shit that's going to be smashed, right? Maybe a couple times the grid will go down, a couple times the satellites will go down, but that's a danger for us, right? Because that danger of the satellites going down can cause us to be attacked by other countries. It's that bad in the world right now. It's like everyone's just waiting for someone to make a mistake so the other one can regain control by nuking someone, whether it be we that nuke they or they that nuke we. I'm not being all pronouny here. I'm just trying to explain what's going on. I'm also looking this week at all the earthquakes. We had some 6s plus. We had some smaller ones, of course, but even some 7s. And we'll look at that real quickly. And then we're going to see another asteroid. Remember the one I showed you that was far away beside the sun? I think it's getting closer. Southern Pacific Ocean. That's right. That's where we are. There's Australia. Those are all the 7 plus and 6 plus earthquakes. And it's always focused there, all the way back to when La Palma started. I started noticing it's all focused to back then. Now take a look here at some of the areas. I don't know if you guys can see it well or not, but these are only in March there, okay? In the past few weeks that went by during the sun being very, very active, again in La Tonga, in the southern, not only the southern, there's also the North Atlantic Ocean, a couple of areas, but the big ones in Japan here, you'll see as I scroll down here, there it is, Japan, check it out, at 7 plus, 7.2 or 7.3, that's pretty big. So what happens around the sun when a massive coronal mass ejection after a massive solar flare spews out plasma at millions of kilometers an hour or miles an hour out into space? Sometimes plasma remains trapped around the sun, and a lot of plasma. So could we see some of those objects going around the sun? Most likely we could. The last video I showed you an object, it was very far away, right? Or close and small, depending on the distance. But let's go see only 24 hours after, when I went back outside to film the sun, I saw the same object, the same trajectory going downwards. Let's go see what I had showed you. That's what I showed you in the last video, right? Well, you're going to see an incredible trajectory, the same thing, same trajectory. Looks like the same object, but a lot closer. So there was a little bit going on here. Not much. You can see that object going by. You're like, well, big deal, right? It's true. Big deal. The flashes over on the right. But now check this out. So there it is. That object that we saw further away. Could this be the same object coming closer? Have you ever heard of the term big blobs that come from the sun, officially called periodic density structures? These blobs in the solar wind emit from the sun in burps. They can be anything from 50 to 500 times as large as Earth. Apparently, these things emerge from the sun roughly every 90 minutes. What happens are these blobs, structures, periodic density structures, become dense. They remain in the orbit around the sun, and obviously they're formed from the plasma. They can harden, and it looks like a planet going by the sun sometimes. That could very well be some of the objects that I'm seeing. And obviously, with that said, we've had several CMEs, 2 X-class CMEs, 1 X-Halo class CME that very recently, just hours ago, hit Earth, supposedly, or did it. Maybe it's on its way. These can take anywhere from 15 hours to 3 days, approximately, depending on their sizes, obviously. But it's definitely something very, very scary. So when they occur, those CMEs, after the solar flares, the plasma remains trapped around the sun, and it can just go around the sun, float around the sun, drift away eventually, or burn up, whatever you want to say. We are going to finish off the video by heading over to the moon to talk about some very mysterious lights on the surface. What would a massive fire that's connected to the surface of the moon, but thousands of feet up into the air, be? An explosion? A UFO? Let's head over there right now. I brought everything into the picture. I did not hide nothing. Nor did I hide the transient lunar phenomenon. Is another thing that's talked about on the surface, but this is not transient lunar phenomenon. A transient lunar phenomenon, or lunar transient phenomenon, LTP, is a short-lived light, okay, with a color or change in appearance on the surface, with or without color, of course, on the moon. The term was created by Patrick Moore in his co-authorship of NASA technical report R277, Chronological Catalog of Reported Lunar Events. If ever you guys want to check it out, was published in 1968. Claims of short-lived lunar phenomena go back as far as 1,000 years, with some having been observed independently by multiple witnesses and reputable scientists. Nevertheless, the majority of transient lunar phenomenon reports are irreproducible. So if I'm able to reproduce this several times and to show it in different areas, it's because it's actually happening and it's worth looking into. But they do not possess, in general, when it comes to NASA and scientists, seeing these phenomena once does not possess the adequate control experiments that could be used to distinguish among alternative hypotheses to explain their origins. Well, I'll tell you what, the Pentagon's been speaking about mysterious lights, okay, that they do not know where they come from. If they're not mentioning to us, the public, about the lights seen on the moon more than what we've heard over a period of maybe 50, 60 years, 2 handfuls of astronauts that they themselves have said they have seen lights on the surface of the moon. These lights are not transient phenomenon. They take off. I follow them, and I've showed you that I'm able to follow the lights on the moon that are leaving the craters. If that's not concerning, I don't know what is. But don't wonder why the channel is remaining low in views. It's very important that you all know that and continue to come back. I love you all for it. This is the biggest secret in the entire world right now. One of the biggest secrets, unfortunately. But the moon, everyone's jumping over it, right? Talking about Mars, James Webb Telescope out there doing a secret project right now. These lights, I've captured hundreds now in almost 6 years of different characteristics, different shapes, sizes, and forms. The lights do different things. They come from different areas. And all these lights are all between Earth and the moon. Imagine all these lights are between Earth and the moon. We see them right here on Earth. And yet people still deny it. I don't think people deny it. I think it's more that they're just literally hiding it. And if the entire world would know that there was a concern for it, it would rock the world. It would change the stock markets. Everything would crash, guys, if the world knew this. Aliens up there on the moon. They may be even coming right here soon. Aliens are mining on the moon. Yes, they are up there. Doesn't matter, cause disclosure's coming soon. Disclosure's coming soon.